Nighttime in downtown Fort Myers, Florida, as we get ready for the last quarterfinal of the week, exclusively on League Ready. We are live from the Suncoast Credit Union Arena on the campus of Florida Southwestern State College as Paul VI takes on the IMG Academy. I'm John Vitas alongside Jeff Blair, and JB, this wraps up the quarterfinal round, a really evenly matched up game here. PVI at number 6, but they are without Patrick Gongba, their big man down low, going to Duke, so they are a little bit short-handed, but both these rosters are very deep.
Well, they are, and they still have Garrett Sundra that's going to hold it down for them in the paint. However, you know, I look at Paul VI, they've been here 6 times. The last time they were in a championship round was 2013. It's time for them, and I know they're thinking about that if you're Coach Farello.
One spot left in the semifinals, which will be on ESPNU tomorrow night. You can see the Ascenders being introduced inside the Suncoast Credit Union Arena. They took down Richmond Heights yesterday. They played the last opening round game. Most of the opening round came on Monday and Tuesday. There was one Wednesday morning game, and IMG won it. Meanwhile, PVI has had a huge rest. They played Monday afternoon at 3:30 and beat Millennium High School from Goodyear, Arizona by a final score of 80-61. They have become a perennial power. They are in the Washington Catholic League, one of the best leagues in the country. As you look at our premier matchup here, Darren Harris playing in his second consecutive City of Palms Classic, the number 45 player in the ESPN 100, committed to Duke. And on the other side, Darius Acuff Jr., a junior, number 15 junior in the country, still assessing his options. He's got some time, undecided. He's got plenty of fellow commits on IMG, but he's one of the top uncommitted players in the class.
Yeah, Darren Harris is a sniper, going to be playing in front of his soon-to-be college coach, John Shire, as well. I look for him to have a big night tonight.
Kenai Roots, committed to Michigan, will also be playing in front of his future college coach, John Shire, and Juwan Howard sitting side by side for this one. As you see Jordan Smith Jr. being introduced, one of the most improved players we've seen from last year's tournament to this year. Smith was a freshman last year and now is a very dominant sophomore, handles the ball quite a bit. And there is Darren Harris, the sharpshooter for PVI. The Panthers from Chantilly, Virginia, coming down to get back to the semis. They made it to the Final Four of this tournament last year, ultimately fell and went to the third place game. Looking to get back to that round here tonight against an IMG team that decided to take last year off. They wanted to get a California team, Centennial, into the field. California teams are not allowed to play academies, so IMG and Montverde mutually agreed to sit out last year so Centennial could come down to Florida, and so they could go to some other tournaments as well. But IMG is back this year, almost an entirely new roster from 2 years ago when they were last here. They're ranked a little lower than usual, Jeff, at 11, but they are still really big and really talented.
Yeah, and I'm happy to see them back. You know, you've got people who really didn't want to see maybe Montverde and IMG always winning these games here. Then when they're gone, you've got those same people wanting them back. And I am happy that both of those teams are back, but I think that the surrounding supporting cast is much better than it's been.
No question. Both these teams lost in the semifinals in their last 2 City of Palms Classics. Paul VI last year and IMG 2 years ago both ended up in the third place game, which takes place on Saturday night. Acuff Jr. at the controls. We just featured him, the number 15 junior in the country. Here is Kenai Roots, future Wolverine. On the drive now, leans in on Sundra, lost the basketball. Harris takes it away, 3-on-2 for PVI. Into the corner, that's Ben Hammond. Now Sundra at the top of the arc gives it back to Hammond. 5'11", senior point guard, headed to Rhode Island.
Yeah, and already you can see that they're well coached. Coach Farello just does an outstanding job with his teams. And, you know, again, I'm looking at Paul VI, and Harris has to get involved early and often right now to put the pressure back on IMG.
Oh, nifty lefty floater is down for Darren Harris. That was not an easy shot with the shot clock ticking down. And PVI draws first blood.
Not at all. And, you know, he's a great shooter. Sometimes shooters like to stay on the perimeter. I love seeing a shooter drive, which he just did.
Here is Smith, the sophomore. Sundra open for 3. Bucket. three for Sundra.
And you know, he was here, had a really good tournament last year, but he's improved as well, his game.
And playing the 5 in place of Gongba, Sundra committed to Notre Dame.
Perfect fit for him.
Both these teams have 5 Division I commits on their rosters. Still some undecided underclassmen, but most of the big dogs have already found their home for next year. Here comes Hammond the other way. Slow start offensively for IMG. Smith wide open, explodes to the rim.
The Red Sea parted for him, and there was no holding back at all.
Reverse the numbers on our score bug. 7-0 start for Paul VI. Nothing going yet for IMG. McCarty drives the baseline, gets inside, couldn't finish.
Also a team you do not want to get down to by a large margin. They're notably a good defensive team historically.
Harris lost his balance but gets the foul call against McCarty.
That's a really tough call. You saw Harris really losing his balance there. And McCarty just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Darren Harris fell into me and they called the foul.
There you see head coach Sean McAloon, a ton of experience at the high school level, now in his 7th season running the show at IMG in Bradenton, Florida, only about 90 minutes north of here. Maybe this time of year closer to 2 hours, but they are just south of the Tampa-St. Pete area. We are just over 2 hours south of Tampa.
Good job. IMG is closing the door on any second chance opportunities. You know, John, this is my first chance to really get a good look, a bird's eye view here of IMG and of ACUF. And, you know, we just saw Boogie Flan earlier, and I know that it's somewhat of a different game, but ACUF has those same athletic ability tendencies that I'm really excited to see what happens tonight.
Same hair, too.
Same hair, absolutely.
Timeout from Sean McAloon. Not happy with how this has gone as you get a look at Glenn Ferrello. 17 seasons at the helm in Chantilly, Virginia. We mentioned the Washington Catholic League. There is always one team from that league here at the City of Palms Classic. Recently, it's been PVI for the most part, but we've seen Gonzaga College Prep come down, as well as some other programs that have had a lot of success up there. But it's, as you look at the starting 5 for PVI, it's really fun to see. You kind of get one team from each metropolitan area, usually. This year, they actually have 3 teams from the New York City area, but usually you get, you know, one Boston team, one New York team, one Philly team, one DC team to come down here. This year, again, it's PVI representing the Washington, D.C. area. Sometimes we get a Baltimore team in as well.
Those D.C. teams, really, there's something different always about them. That's a very, very tough and competitive league they play in.
Right, that's one of those leagues where the bottom half is about as good as you'll ever see.
Absolutely.
There are no easy wins. There is ACUF drawing the foul, and he'll have a chance to finally get IMG on the board as you look at their starting 5.
Yeah, we see ACUF going to the line. You said he has the same hair as Boogie Flan. Same movement, too. They are both quick as lightning, and you cannot turn your back on them. If you do, you're going to get burned.
That's a good call, Jeff. They are pretty similar. Of course, Flan a little bit older, probably a little more developed, but very similar game. As ACUF finally gets the Ascenders on the board more than 3 minutes in. Makes the second as well. So Hammond will bring it up. He is so fun to watch. He and Smith both electric on the ball. And not shy one bit. There comes the trap. Hammond gives it up to Harris. Curls around McCarty. Mid-range for Smith. Handoff inside. And there's a foul. It's going to be a block, sending Isaiah Abraham to the free throw line.
And that was the right call to make. He was under the arc. And I believe that obviously the official made the right call there. But the movement so far by Paul VI has been outstanding. You know, Harris could have launched a few of those shots, but he chose the better position player. And it's really working out for them right now.
There's the score for you, 7-2. PVI with the lead. A missed free throw there. You know, it's funny, we watched this PVI team a lot last year in the tournament, and one guy that kind of slipped my mind was Isaiah Abraham, and you see he's committed to UConn, obviously the reigning national champions, and Coach Ferrello said that the staff with the Huskies loved his toughness, loved his defense in particular. He's long, he's 6'6", 6'7", can guard almost any position on the court, and that really is a huge part of the formula for UConn.
Absolutely. And mentioning UConn, there was talk that Cooper Flagg was going to commit to UConn as well, which would have been a huge coup for Danny Hurley. However, I think this is a big get for him as well.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, they won the national championship.
I think they'll be okay without Cooper Flagg.
I think so too.
This is a great get here with Isaiah Abraham, the number 81 ranked senior, but you can see how versatile he is at his position. Sundra poked it away, keeps it in bounds, gets it ahead to Hammond.
Good communication by Hammonds. Sundra was getting ready to stop himself out of bounds, and Hammonds.
Abraham open, but he missed it. Ruth's the rebound, and here comes IMG, but Hammond intercepts it. 4-on-2 if they hurry. Hammond circles, 8-foot floater, no good, and Jordan Smith, on a pogo stick. The ups are off the charts.
Unbelievable
for Smith.
Vertical. It really is so quick off the floor.
Ruth lowered his shoulder, no whistle. Layup was missed, and here comes Smith.
Good
Harris,
no call.
Transition three, no good, too long. Rebound to Freeman, launches the other way. 3-on-1 for IMG. Acuff Jr. lefty layup, no good. Offensive rebound and a putback. Count the basket for McCarty.
IMG looking really good out in transition right now. Making a nice little comeback here in the first quarter.
This has been fun to watch. These teams will push tempo. Smith Jr. with it, up by 6. Harris working really hard to try and get free on the perimeter. Hammond from the elbow. It's good. Pretty jumper.
Absolutely.
From Ben Hammond.
And then smallest guy on the court, right?
He's one of those guys where, you know, sometimes you say, oh, I wish he had a couple more inches. I feel like you don't say that for Ben Hammond because his height has made him the player he's become.
It's the heart and the effort that you see already out there on the floor. Never standing around, never flat-footed. And there you see it again, getting his hands on basketball.
McCarty spots up for 3, in and out. Tie up on the rebound, ripped away by Abraham.
Wow, outstanding. And that's the kind of play you see in UConn that they are breeding in that area.
You've got to be tough when you get to the Final Four. UConn winning those big games last year. Harris fades. And it was blocked. Good defense from McCarty.
Yeah, that's terrible spacing for Paul, the 6 right there. 2 men on top of one another. Easy to guard.
It'll stay on this end. And a host of substitutions coming in. We hadn't had a stoppage for a while, but we see Felipe Quinones come in, a top 50 sophomore in the class, as well as Kareem Stagg, a junior, and Cole Serta, who is also going to Notre Dame. So We've got dueling Irishmen in this matchup. There's a good drive. Acuff lost the handle, though, gives it to Freeman. Freeman pulls up from 15 and connects.
Wow, he gets some elevation on his jumper as well.
He's going to Syracuse. One thing I think we were noticing here, JB, is how great these fits are. These players in their colleges.
Absolutely.
I mean, you talk about the 2-3 zone. You stick Freeman there right in the middle at 6'10", he's going to wreak havoc.
Yes.
We've got a foul, and it'll be PBI ball.
And there's our guy right there. Number 3, Hammond on the floor, going after every loose ball.
We don't see it too often, JB, but we've seen a few times now this week commits going to the same school going against each other as Jordan Smith lays it in off the baseline out of bounds play. The most notable matchup, of course, was in the first round where we had 2 of the top 3 players in the country, both going to Rutgers, going head-to-head. Ace Bailey of McEachern up against Dylan Harper of Don Bosco Prep.
Yeah, Harper got the best of that matchup, but I'm sure that they'll go at each other in practice quite often.
Yeah, I think they both finished around 28 points, but Harper was the better, more efficient player in that game, and his team won the game.
Oh, good heads-up play.
Yeah, well done. Stagg had it go off his leg, and PVI will keep it. See that 4-4 record for IMG? It's quite misleading. They have played a gauntlet early in the season.
Yeah.
And a really impressive win over Richmond Heights, a team from Ohio that went undefeated last year and returned quite a few of their top players, a team that plays with relentless energy. IMG was able to weather that storm early and then really pull away in the second half.
Yeah, I had them earlier today, John, and they're just really a relentless team. And, you know, some of the players may be a little bit overachieving on that team as well, but some really good stars that are going to come out of that team as well that we'll see on the next level.
Yeah, not as many Power 5 guys on that Richmond Heights team, but they've got a lot of guys, maybe 3 or 4, that could go to the mid-major level and play well. Some good size, good athleticism, but great energy across that Richmond Heights lineup. As we've got a foul away from the ball, Harris is working really hard on offense and starting to reap rewards as Acuff Jr. is called for the reach.
I'm sure Harris was wanting to really get on the board in a big-time way here. He's been a good facilitator, only has 2 points, though. His team is in the lead, and that's really what, you know, all that matters. But I'm sure he wants to have a good showing here with his coach, future coach, sitting in the stands as well.
Feed to the baseline. We have 3 subs in right now for PVI. This is one of them. Anthony Brown Jr. missing that attempt, but it'll stay with the Panthers. We also have Adlin El-Amin in for the first time, as well as Jaquan Womack. Womack is one of the bigger guys who's going to have to contend with the incredible size of IMG. Hand off to Harris. He lost his footing just enough on the pass to get it to Brown.
Yeah.
As the clock ticks down, under 30 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Talked about the spacing. We've got 3 guys over here on the right-hand side. I guess that's for a clear out.
And Brown Jr. isolated on the other side, hits the J.
He wouldn't be the guy that I would think they're calling the clear out for, but what do I know? I'm up here, they're down there.
Showed off a great move on offense there. And there's Acuff Jr. splashing home the triple just before the buzzer. It's a really good first quarter for Paul VI. A 7-point lead as we get ready for quarter number 2. We are commercial free here on League Ready and free for you to watch on YouTube. And you see some of the highlights from this opening quarter. And really good start for PVI. That 3, though, by Acuff kind of changes the complexion of this game going into quarter number 2. If you're IMG, JB, what are some of the things you want to see them do better moving forward?
Well, I think for one, you'd like to see IMG. You mentioned that they do have a height advantage, and I think they need to take care of that take advantage of that in the paint and really force Paul VI to guard them a little differently. They have become a little bit of a perimeter team, and they don't need to be.
So you see Coach Farello dialing some stuff up in the huddle. This is a matchup that will earn you an opportunity to play Montverde Academy tomorrow night. That will not be easy. We saw them dominate yet again tonight in our first of our 3 quarterfinals. This is the ultimate triple header here on League Ready. We're getting to watch 6 of the top 11 teams in the nation. There's the look at the bracket. Our 2 games today, Montverde ultra impressive against a ranked Archbishop Stepinac team from the New York City area. And then Link Academy from Branson, Missouri, beating Columbus by 7. You see the scores tend to get closer and more competitive as the week goes along. That's true not only for the bracket you're seeing here, but for the consolation bracket on the other side, as well as the Sunshine and Signature Series brackets. 26 teams in town for this tournament.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, no one comes here wanting to see a blowout. They really do want to see competitive games. And I think as the years have gone on, you've seen a lot more of different type competition. Nice drive in the middle. Anthony Brown Jr. took a hit to the head.
Really poised, only a sophomore.
Yeah, quite a few players in the tournament. Nice shot by Harris.
Oh, that is pretty. A long 2 for Darren Harris.
And I think that could be a shot that could get him more involved in the game offensively. As I said before, he's become a good passer, really staying in the game defensively.
Oh, goodness. Stagg got Abraham in the air, and he came down hard on his right hip.
I just hope he is okay and is able to get up and play. But you're right, that is a terrible fall.
You see the thumbs up from his teammates as he was talking to him, just needed a second there. I'm amazed, JB, all the time how these kids bounce back off of some really awkward falls and heavy collisions. I mean, there are some players in this tournament who absolutely throw their body around.
Yeah, they're precision-tuned athletes, and obviously starting from a really, really young age, and I'm impressed with these kids also to be able to play this many games in a week like this. I mean, really hard competitive games. Some of them can be back-to-back as you get into these lower, closer to the championship round. It is back-to-back.
Yeah,
and they are
back-to-back.
Yes, they're very, very tough games.
And that's why here you have 3 subs coming in at once. That's a huge luxury for these teams. Really, all the teams in the quarterfinals rotate at least 7 players. We've seen some teams in the tournament only play 5 or 6. But these quarterfinal teams have the depth. That's a big reason why they advanced from the first round.
It's a great matchup right here. Acuff with Hammond. One to watch for sure. 2 speedy guards going at each other.
Sundra back in. Brown Jr. gets tripped and earns the foul.
If I'm Coach Farello, I might think about getting Darren Harris again coming off another screen, keeping him more interested and involved in this game. Hit a great shot down here last possession. And you've got to look to really isolate him somehow.
See the 2 fouls on Quinones. Boy, Harris and Cooper Flagg together in the same recruiting class. Not to mention Patrick Gongba, who's
and Isaiah Evans from North Mecklenburg, who I'm very impressed with.
You can understand why John Shire is here because all of those guys are at this tournament.
Absolutely.
That one falls for Anthony Brown Jr., who's providing a lift off the bench right now.
He really has. What is that, his 3rd basket right now that he's had? Acuff with an easy basket to the hoop.
Acuff had 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists in the opening round game as Jordan Smith missed it. Good box out there. Sundra was in position but didn't have a chance to jump for it. Wing 3, in and out for McCarty.
Yeah, both teams really doing a good job of limiting the second chance opportunities. You can see it's one and done, and they're back down the court. So great job for both of them.
Good move by Brown Jr. Give him 8 points off the bench.
Wow, what a spark plug. What a luxury to have a guy like that.
And a 10-point lead for the Panthers.
Obviously he can fill it up, but primarily a defensive guy is Brown Jr.
That one stripped away. Ruths couldn't get anything going. Hammond running with Smith, drops it to the trailer. Harris for 3, top of the rim. Look at Smith jump over the ascender to get it. Brown Jr. gives it up. Sundra spots up. In and out, rebound, knocked around, and Serta comes away with it.
Great hustle.
Good bounce pass to McCarty. It's loose underneath. They say it stays in bounds. Ruth's thought about it. Being defended by the much smaller Hammond. They will slow it down and reset to Acuff.
I think the officials have done a nice job tonight. There's a lot of calls that have been no calls, and rightly so.
And that one, another good example of that. And look at the putback. Give the bucket to Kareem Stagg.
The quick ups, the up and down before another person can get up to even secure the basketball is amazing with some of these guys.
We had a promotional item get dropped on the court. So they will impound with 30 on the shot clock. It is a 35-second shot clock here at the tournament. Jaquan Womack returns along with Elamine for PVI.
Got a good shot of Acuff in his colorful shoes also that he's wearing right now. I know that IMG is, I believe, an Under Armour school. Bright color shoe. And they're wearing shoes now that don't even match the uniform.
Welcome to the generation.
Right.
Individuality, JB. Elamine down the baseline, lost it.
That's tough. He should have given it up and reset.
One other totally unrelated note, we don't see a lot of Roman numerals anymore. It's kind of refreshing.
It is, isn't it?
PVI.
Some people probably don't even know what that is, right?
The V is 5 and the I is 1. So 5 plus 1 equals 6. Paul the 6th. Serta's 3 is down.
And Serta finally wakes up in this game, and he could be a dangerous player.
Well, these teams have weapons up and down the lineup. Serta scored 12 points in about 2 minutes of garbage time in the first round as Smith rises high and gets the roll.
I really like him as a player. I think he's done a great job tonight. He's on the boards. He's relentless. He's a slasher. He can shoot. He's proven. He's got good touch. Really nice player.
Yeah, Coach Farello said what he has done to his offensive game in 1 year is off the charts. The skills, the athleticism's always been there. The skills have gone way up. Spin move, Hammond all the way through, gives it to Smith, and there are those leaping ability.
And I love it. You reward the guy. He got the tip and basically initiated the steal on the other end, on the defensive end, and they give it back to him, and he scores with a slam.
Boy, I'll tell you what, JB, we've seen some great guards all week, but this backcourt, Hammond and Smith, is so fun to watch. Lefty hook shot off the mark. Smith got a hand on it, so it'll stay with IMG.
Yeah, they're very impressive. You can see here, good unselfishness to get it inside. He goes up high, 6'3". I know that's not small, but to be getting up to the rim at being 6'3", it's pretty impressive.
If we were trying to run a combine here, he would be my pick to win the high jump.
I wouldn't disagree.
Vertical. Offers already from Virginia Tech and Kansas State for Jordan Smith Jr. I would imagine there will be a lot more coming.
Absolutely. Only a sophomore.
That one falls for McCarty. Count the basket, +1.
Yeah, great shot inside. He hit a couple early on, went silent. Now he's back in his rhythm.
Count the basket for Chase McCarty.
So McCarty to the free throw line, committed to Houston. And he misses it. Will that dunk count? I think they will count it.
Oh,
Roots was hanging on the rim as it was batted up and down.
yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, Coach Farello did not like that, and he will use a timeout. It's down to a 5-point game. IMG has done a nice job kind of slowing the pace down. You could tell PVI is the team that prefers to run a little bit more. As you look at the list here, again, Gongba out with a foot injury, had surgery a few weeks ago. They are unsure about his return date, but still an impressive list. Both he and Harris going to Duke, but Coach Farello said that Patrick's done a great job kind of giving the hand he's been dealt, dealing with it. He's become an assistant coach of sorts for PVI, and there's the list for IMG, as impressive as always.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, even Gerard O'Keefe going to Columbia, you know, just an amazing, impressive list of teams that these players are going to go play for at next level. They've worked hard to get there. Countless summer hours on the circuit.
By the way, we were given another list of offers for Jordan Smith. We mentioned K-State and Virginia Tech. The team tells us that he also has offers from Syracuse, Maryland, Georgetown, Villanova, and George Mason.
Okay.
So a local flair to that group, 3 teams in the D.C. area plus Syracuse and Villanova.
And, John, if you're honest, there's one team on there that I know you're rooting for, and that's the Maryland Terrapins.
Yes, Coach Willard, get on him. There's Darren Harris with the lefty layup.
Outstanding move by Mr. Harris. Once again, he can shoot it, and he can also drive.
And an offensive foul on McCarty. And Harris can play some defense, too.
Yeah, I really like his game. As we said before, he's moving on to play at Duke with that celebrated class that they have coming in.
By the way, while we have the list pulled up, Elamine, who's been coming in off the bench, whose name we've only mentioned once or twice, he already has 6 Division I offers in his own right. A junior, class of 2025. And Anthony Brown, who's had a big impact on this game, has 4 offers already from D1 programs.
Wow, quite impressive.
George Mason has offered almost all these guys. They are 5 minutes down the road from PVI. Coach Farello told us last year that they know those guys well, and they would love to get the Patriots some players. But
absolutely,
a lot of times the players have a chance to go to a better conference, and they take that opportunity.
They missed Sunder on the inside. He was open. Instead, they'll take Harris going to the basket with the floater for two.
That was a 7-footer, but it's basically a layup for Harris. And it's up to a 9-point lead for PVI. Acuff Jr. threw it away. Sandra ahead to Hammond. He's got trailers, but he'll lay it in himself.
And how smart was that? He basically put the defender to sleep and then hit a little bit of an next gear to get the basket.
Yeah, he was staring at the trailers, and so Ruths couldn't fully commit to him. Ruths pulls up from the elbow, no good. High rebound brought in nicely by Allen, who lays it in.
Might be a good time for a quick timeout, though, if you're IMG. I know they missed the opportunity here. But
a strip. Acuff Jr. the other way for two.
And what was I speaking of timeout? Forget that.
IMG within 7. They have certainly hung around after a hot start from PVI.
Acuff Jr. with 9 points in the game. Trying to cut into this lead of 7 for Paul VI.
Here's Womack, had it stripped. Another steal from IMG.
Wow, great hands.
Ruths will throw it down. Kenai Ruths cuts it to 5.
Wow, great play on both defensive end and then the offensive end finishing with the dunk.
The Panthers have taken such good care of the basketball, and that is totally flipped upside down here. They could have had another turnover, but fortunately for the Panthers, they get the call from the official. It's a block.
Yeah, the official was right there on it, but I think Serta may have an argument on this one as we see the replay. Things happen so quick and so fast.
Abraham, who was shaken up earlier, checks back in for the Panthers. As you look at Serta, he can really shoot it. Hit 4 threes in a row in garbage time of the first round matchup. Hammond, look at the moves, sweeps it in.
Wow, he is so slippery inside. You're trying to keep track of the guy. He's so quick. The body twitching, going every different direction.
Coach Farello said it takes a certain kind of coach and a certain kind of program to commit to a sub-6-foot point guard, and Archie Miller at Rhode Island was the perfect fit. Anthony Brown Jr. plays it up. Off the dribble, takes Serta on the bounce and draws the foul. It'll be on the floor, but it puts PVI in the bonus, so free throws are coming.
See right here, he is just going to slip through each defender, up and under. Once again, not bad defense at all, just better offense by Hammond.
He was one of our favorites last year, leading PVI to the semifinals. Looking to do the same thing tonight as Brown makes the free throw. And 3 fouls on Serta. They're going to leave him in for now. Obviously plenty of depth for IMG, so they can take some risks in certain moments. Second one in and out.
I think it's a good move. It doesn't hurt you at all. Obviously, if he can knock a few shots down, which he can, he's an outside shooter, is his specialty. Can pay dividends for you, ending the half.
Abraham defending. Acuff gets downhill. Serta tees up the 3. Can it? Bottoms for Cole Serta.
And there it is, exactly. Coach McAloon knows his players. Kept him in there with 3 fouls. Drills it.
Back down to a 5-point game. IMG will not go away. These quarterfinals have been a lot of fun to watch, which means our 5th place bracket the next 2 days will be fun to watch because the teams who have fallen here are still really talented. Look at Hammond hang in the air and hit from half court at the buzzer. Acuff almost. What a first half here in Fort Myers, Florida. PVI with a 37-30 lead.
Guard play. Guard play has been great for Paul VI. PVI needs to continue that. Obviously getting their other guys involved. And obviously second quarter was good for Darren Harris. And we've got a 37-30 lead going into the half.
Don't go anywhere. We will step aside here on League Ready. We'll be back for the start of the second half in less than 10 minutes. We welcome you back live to the City of Palms Classic here in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm John Vitas alongside Jeff Blair, and there you see it, one spot left in tomorrow night's semifinals. Up for grabs here in this game right now, it is Paul VI holding a 7-point lead as we look at the first half stats for these two teams. And JB, really impressive on the PVI side. They shot 63% in that opening half. Not a lot of free throws, which is the reason why the score isn't higher. But the field goal percentage for both teams is outstanding.
Little surprise at the three-point percentages for Paul VI, being that they do have some shooters, some pure shooters, only 20%, but limiting the turnovers, only 3 turnovers to 10 versus IMG. Could have been the difference.
We'll see what IMG has in store. Head coach Sean McAloon talking to his team in the locker room, and certainly some changes to be made. Both these teams, they feel pretty evenly matched. Both have rotated about 8 players in this game.
You know, the bench feels just a little more efficient to me, you know, looking at bench scoring. It was pretty close, obviously 9 points for IMG, 7 coming off the bench for Paul VI.
Paul VI used 9 players. IMG used 8 in that first half.
That's impressive.
Yeah, Jordan Hunter only played 1 minute, so really 8 and 8 if you're talking about rotations. IMG, of course, in the blue, PVI in the white with the gold and black trim. Bounce pass knocked away. Here comes Abraham. Steps on the gas in transition, spin move, and he was blocked, but a foul called on Freeman. As you see your first half leaders, 10 points for Jordan Smith and 9 for Darius Acuff Jr. Both of those guys are underclassmen.
Yeah, Jordan Smith Jr. was really the spark plug, I felt, coming off the bench. Had 2 big monster dunks and was really keeping his the club in the game defensively as well.
First free throw is good for Abraham, who only had 1 point in that first half. And gets the roll on the second one. PVI led by as many as 11 as late as the 2.5-minute mark of the second quarter.
Great matchup here as you see Acuff up against number 23, the guy we just talked about, Jordan Smith Jr. It's one to watch.
Good baseline maneuver, and the hook shot is good for Kenai Roots.
Yeah, he did a great job of kind of putting Sundra to sleep down there. And pivot, easy lay-in for him.
You can see Hammond is deferring to Smith here and playing off the ball. Harris will pull the trigger. A little bit too strong, and Allen has the rebound. Amari Allen across half court.
You know Harris missed that shot, but I like the shot he took. It wasn't forced. It's one that he'll make 80% of the time.
Freeman adjusting in the air, couldn't finish. Gets it back, though. Leans in on Sundra. That's no good. Good defense from Sundra. And a tie-up on the rebound. McCarty got in there to do some dirty work, and I think he drew the foul.
You know, John Freeman reminds me a lot of Jarris Walker, who was here with IMG before, went on to play for the Houston Cougars and now in the NBA. But they have the similar body style.
Yes, I would agree. There's a great finish underneath. Walker maybe a little bit more of an outside jumper, but same body, same team. As Smith kicks. Harris from the wing, uncovered, but he missed it. Sundra taps it out, but nobody's home.
But I want to know, did Jarris Walker ever play with one shoe? I don't think he has that distinction.
I think he played in 3 City of Palms Classics for IMG.
He really did.
He was a staple for them for a while.
Yeah, he was on the, it felt like, I guess from his freshman year, he was on that IMG team, which is a rarity these days. We were talking about, you know, players switching teams, you know, coming to the City of Palms with a second or third team at times. But Jarris Walker was a staple for the Ascenders.
Especially with these academies, a lot of guys will go just for their senior year or maybe for 2 years, then maybe come back home. Acuff Jr. couldn't get the roll, but will get 2 free throws, and IMG is really closing in here.
They are. Acuff, very impressive the way that he can use his body, as you can see right here. He knew he was going to get bumped, and the ball was going up before the defender really can have a chance to commit.
There is Acuff Jr. A tremendous performance yesterday in the opening round, cuts the deficit down to 4. Ranked number 15 in the junior class. There you see it on that ESPN 60. One possession game.
I like
Hammond across half court.
I like the pressure that IMG is trying to apply. Obviously, if they get the turnover, that's fine. It's just looking to be disruptive. Take some time off that shot clock as well.
Yeah, when they're connected on defense, they can be really good. Hammond gives it up. Abraham. Out of the corner, Abraham gets it back. Shot clock down to 6.
Great matchup here.
Hammond contested 2, too strong. Smith jumped over Freeman, but tapped it out of bounds.
He was climbing the ladder to get up for that. Bumped it out of bounds.
And a timeout from Coach Farello with 5:40 to go. What would you like to see PVI do a little bit more?
Well, I think they're doing some good things. The shots aren't dropping this half, though, for them. But I think they're doing some good things to basically get on the scoreboard. The shot's just not dropping.
I think they've lost a little bit of fluidity to their offense. Maybe diagram something for Harris, who you know can shoot it. But once Hammond and Smith start to get out in open space, that's when they're at their best, I feel like.
Yeah, Harris only has 8 points, and yeah, I think that that second quarter he was hitting at a high level, and he will run in spurts as well. So I think there's an opportunity that they will go back to him. Obviously, it's really early here in the third. But Harris, we've been saying all game long, we really want to see him get on track and have the kind of game that we know he can have.
He was 4 for 7 from the field in the first half, 8 points. No threes, which is odd for him. 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. I'm amazed by how much they trust Acuff on the other side. A junior, but really the focal point of the offense as that jumper's off the mark.
Yeah, and he's the guy, though, that can penetrate and make things happen. Really your finisher. Not that these other guys can't do that, but I think he's the most consistent guy that can really create his shot anytime he wants.
Hand off to Abraham, steps on the gas, all alone, and he scores.
So nice. He got Freeman to commit, caught him off balance. It was an easy little jumper for him.
A total discard on the drive. Allen leans in, and it's offensive.
That's tough. They're going to call it all the time. I should say the majority of the time.
Yeah, he was in position. You can see we talked about Abraham's defense earlier. That's a perfect example.
So easy for us to sit up here and say, but that is an easy pull-up jumper. Just pull back a little bit when you're going to the rim.
We've seen so many of these talented players at the City of Palms Classic have those 10-foot floaters down pat. Hammond uses the screen from Harris, gets all the way through. Dumps it down low for Smith, who missed the dunk. And then it's poked free. Womack on the drive, lays it up with the left and got it to go.
Wow, nice move. He adjusted really quickly in the air, went from his right to his left. Now Freeman back in the action, and he gets 2.
How about that? Freeman running the floor, gets the layup, and it's back down to a 5-point game. Hammond around the screen, pulls up from 18, draws the foul, and will go to the free throw line.
And this is where clearly he's going to go to the free throw line to shoot for 2. But he had Harris over on the three-point line lined up, ready to go. And I think that's just a thing that they'll get down as the season goes, as Harris will break free. You've got to get it to your star player.
Hammond's first free throw is good. So that'll get some more subs in for Coach Farello. Adlin Elamine returns. Is that a nice, consistent rotation of players?
Absolutely. And it's really, you can see by the body language, by the way they play, that they're all comfortable with their role as well. We talked earlier about the alpha dogs and having guys that just need touches. You're not really seeing that from Paul VI.
Yeah, they're a true team in every sense of the word. Brown Jr. back in as well, the sophomore. A lot of continuity with the roster. Most of these guys were here playing in this game last year.
Freeman wants the ball badly with the mismatch on Hammond.
The help came. Hammond leaps to get the steal.
Yeah,
around the back dribble, and here he comes. Harris open for three. It's good. Darren Harris stretches the lead to 10.
Great shot by Harris.
And on the other end, a pass that goes out of bounds for Allen, and a timeout for Sean McAloon as his team had cut it to 3, and all of a sudden the Panthers build it back up to 10.
Yeah, and you had mentioned earlier, as much of a great player as Acuff is, they really put the ball in his hands a lot, as we can see now. Hammond looking for the big guy, Harris, which we've been begging for all night, and he knocks down the 3 with ease. But back to my point with Acuff, there's 2 possessions that he's had that turnover. And, as a point guard, you got to realize when's your time to really be a distributor and when's your time to be a scorer. And I think that can come, but that might be a little bit of a disconnect right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. IMG's got some great athletes. They've shown that throughout this game, but they haven't been able to go on any big runs. The efficiency on offense has not quite been where they need it to be. They're in danger, as you can see, they're falling under 500, which is shocking. But obviously they've challenged themselves early in the season, and I think they're learning a lot about themselves right now. You learn more from a loss than you do from a win.
Oh, absolutely. And listen, you said it before, the win-loss record is irrelevant. That's really a bit of a facade because they've played a brutal schedule and have played teams tough down to the wire. I really feel right now Paul VI is showing you why they're ranked 6th in the country. They're really starting to perform as the better team.
We'll see if they can hold off IMG. You mentioned it earlier Greg mentioned it earlier with Montverde, where if they do have a weakness and then they really proved them wrong in the second half, it is the three-point shooting. IMG has not shown much semblance of a three-point game. Really anybody.
No, they've got Serta who can knock it down.
As there's a 3 from Adlin El-Amin, and it's the largest lead of the night for PVI.
And go figure, the young man just comes into the ball game and knocks a 3 on the second possession.
I mean, that's what at IMG is missing, as Acuff misses the floater, and Womack rises high for the board. Hammond's in rhythm, gives it to Harris, and we have a moving screen, as they will get El-Amin for the offensive foul.
And, you're spot on when you were looking at this game and saying it could get out of hand for IMG, and they really are in danger right now. They need to stop the bleeding, and they just can't. They don't have the formula to do it right now.
I'm a little surprised, too, Jeff, that they're not rebounding better with the size and the strength that they have. Paul VI has had just enough size to really handle themselves on the glass. There's a pretty floater to cut it to 11 for Acuff.
Well, you've got to commit to that defensive, to rebounding the basketball and protecting it. And sometimes that offensive flair gets in the way of committing to rebounding, especially when you got talented players like they have here.
Oh, McCarty with the denial. In transition, there's a hard foul on Ruths, who will go to the free throw line.
Womack with a little body block. Maybe he thought he was back on the football field, but did a good job of stopping that. No one's hurt, but may feel that tomorrow morning.
Well, we mentioned how Juwan Howard is here for Kenai Ruths, who's shooting the free throws right now. He's also here for Darius Acuff because Michigan is one of the front runners to land Acuff, who is the number, according to ESPN, number 15 player. Other outlets have him even higher than that.
And, you had mentioned this, and I absolutely agree that a lot of these players that we are seeing this week and seeing the schools that either committed to or that are interested in them, they've really chosen the right schools regardless of an NIL deal.
Jaquan Womack going to work on the low block. That was a great move, one-on-one down low.
Yeah, that was an excellent move. Took what they gave him, and here's Serta with a long three.
A sweet three from Serta. IMG needs more of that. That cuts it back down to single digits with just under 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Hammond got hit, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Yeah, that's a good call. He got him. Throw off his shot. But, man, Hammond can get up when he is shooting that jumper. Gets great elevation.
You know who he reminds me of, Ben Hammond? And hopefully you get this Maryland reference, but another guy who played in the Washington Catholic League, Anthony Cowan Jr.
I don't know the name.
As a 4-year starter for the Terps, a point guard, but maybe an inch or two taller than Hammond. But the way he sells fouls reminds me of Cowan. There is Shire and Coach Howard.
Having a fun moment together.
Boy, speaking of tough schedules early in the season, how about Duke's schedule?
Oh,
they've played,
brutal.
I think, 4 ranked teams already this year.
Brutal. And, you know, again, classic Duke is they get better as the season goes on. They're going to bounce back. But it hasn't hurt the recruiting at all. Outstanding class as we've
witnessed
talked about.
firsthand.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Last year's class was great. This year's class is even better. With Cooper Flagg, Patrick Gongba, and, of course, Harris, who's on display in this game.
The list goes on and on.
Acuff Jr., a lot of dribbling, snaps one to the other side. Ruth's for 3, too strong.
Wow,
and
great
another,
rebound.
Womack is everywhere.
I'm impressed with him.
And Ruths gets the steal and launches a pass the other way. McCarty is there, and he gets the roll. McCarty with a chance for 3.
And how about the shielding effort of Acuff with the defender coming down? Acuff put on a little bit of a block. It was earlier. Can't quite see it in that clip.
Yeah, that's not a great foul from Anthony Brown Jr.
No.
You probably just want to let him get those 2. Came in at the last second and hacked him. McCarty lines up the free throw and makes it.
And just like that, John, it's a 2-possession game. Still a little bit over a minute here in the third, and then the entire fourth quarter to go. So IMG is still in this game.
Smith in the corner. Gets into the lane. Oh, lost his footing. That's going to be a travel. That's a tough break for PVI because he was closing in on another bucket.
You get a good look at Smith Jr. here. It's only a sophomore, but a man-sized body already.
Yeah, he is going to be special.
Absolutely. I can't wait, and I hope that I'm still here and hope that they're still coming to this tournament.
I was going to say, Jeff, as much as PVI likes to run and get out in transition, I almost feel like the pace of this game is better for IMG because it gives you more possessions to close the gap.
Yeah, and they just have to take advantage of it. I think they've had some turnovers they wish they could take back. There is Freeman.
Freeman made that
knocking
jumper
it down.
Look really easy, and IMG is within 4. Back and forth they go here in this third quarter. It was a 7-point lead for Paul VI at halftime, and down to 4 right now. 8-second differential on the shot clock. Despite that, Hammond wasting time. Down to 10 now. Hammond working on Acuff. Crosses over, puts up the quick floater. That's off the mark. Offensive rebound, put back, doesn't go. Golden opportunity missed from Elamine. 3 seconds. And we've got a foul on the floor and 2 free throws upcoming for IMG. They're in the bonus.
Tough foul there on Harris. Not much he could have done. You know, I'm not in love with the ISO running the clock down unless you're Michael Jordan or LeBron James. I think you need to basically get in your offensive flow, stay in it. But they did have a second chance opportunity that they couldn't get and gave it back to IMG. Now they're shooting free throws.
It's almost like PVI played that possession like it was the fourth quarter where they were trying to burn as much clock as they could. But we've got a long way to go in this one, and it ends up providing an opportunity for the other team, and the Ascenders, despite the miss, are closing in.
Yeah. You always got to play to win, not play to lose.
Freeman's second free throw is good. Harris comes to it. Not sure if he got it off. Won't matter. It's off the mark. 3-point game. headed to the fourth quarter in our last quarterfinal game of the week. Semifinals coming up tomorrow as you look at this player to watch matchup, which we talked about at the Open, Acuff versus Harris. Those are two of the headliners here. Plenty of other stars in this matchup, pitting Virginia against Florida, IMG and PVI playing for the right to take on the Montverde Academy. There it is in tomorrow's first semifinal. It'll be Link Academy and Long Island Lutheran in the nightcap. We're looking forward to sitting back and watching those games on ESPNU.
Absolutely, and as much anticipation as we had for tonight's quarterfinals, look at the semifinals. That is unbelievable field. Regardless of who gets in tonight, Paul VI or IMG, that is going to be quite the Final Four here at the City of Palms.
Yeah, and this is something to keep in mind if you're unfamiliar with the format of this tournament, they have another bracket now for fifth place between the four losing teams in the quarterfinals. I'm looking forward to that tomorrow as well. So they'll play the fifth place semis and the ninth place semis tomorrow early in the day. So the later you get in the tournament, the better the matchups get. So tomorrow and Saturday on all the different platforms that this tournament provides, you can catch those games. We're going to be calling some games on Baller TV and, of course, ESPNU for the semis and the finals as well as the third place game. So should be a lot of fun. We're getting towards the end of the tournament, but we saved the best for last.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to it. And, again, not to overemphasize, but not to underemphasize as well. Some outstanding games that really won't be on primetime type TV, but again, I agree with you 100% when you said top to bottom. This is probably one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive, City of Palms Classic we've had.
And those early games we're referencing tomorrow, McEachern versus the Cannon School. Ace Bailey, the number 3 senior in the country, plays for McEachern. The Cannon School has Austin Swartz going to Miami, top 50 player. And then the second game between Millennium and North Mecklenburg. North Mecklenburg has Isaiah Evans. Millennium, I think, has 3 ranked recruits. Then we go to the Signature Series, and then those fifth place semis between the 4 losers here in the quarterfinals, which 3 of the 4 are going to be ranked teams.
Yeah, two great days of basketball coming up Friday and Saturday you're not going to want to miss.
So Ben Hammond has it, leading by only 3. Jordan Smith trying to shake the defense and hits the jumper. There it is. Coach Farello talked about it. He has really improved his offensive game, and we are seeing it fully on display.
Absolutely. The confidence to pull up and hit that jumper when you know that you really haven't been playing that well, impressive.
What a finish from Darius Acuff Jr.
I think he was happy about it as well.
Maybe a little skip
Yes,
down the
he
court.
did.
These guys are starting to get a little more assertive. Little weave here for PVI. Hammond all the way through. Righty finish off the window. He circled through 3 players, almost twice his size, and was still able to finish up high.
Yeah, he just replicated a play he had earlier in the first half, I believe, or the third quarter. I can't remember, but the guy is just so slippery and can get places that some players just can't.
Acuff Jr. fully engaged, draws the foul on the other end. Hammond just a little late sliding over.
His first, team first. 2 free throws for Darius.
Good job of Acuff to recognize that. He'll be at the line shooting 2. Took a hard fall. Both of them did. But true gamers at the point.
First free throw is pure. Cuts it to 4. Starting 5 in there right now for PVI. Well, it'll be interesting to see if these coaches shorten the rotation here in the final quarter of a really close and consequential game.
I think they will. I think you're going to see your starters getting the maximum of minutes here, if not the entire fourth quarter. It's too tight to gamble.
Oh, Hammond's had it blocked from behind by Acuff Jr. What a fun point guard matchup this has become.
The question is, did Hammond touch the ball as he was going out of bounds? And that was the argument with IMG. Looks like he touched it coming down, and clearly the official was right there on top of it.
Final game of the day. We started playing basketball at 10:15 this morning. And approaching the 12-hour mark right now. A full day of hoops.
And well worth it.
An incredible collection of teams. Again, 26 teams here in town this week. Lob to Sundra.
And Sundra's been a bit quiet as well.
He can score. Harris lost it. Abraham is there to collect. Smith with space gives it to Sundra, who missed the reverse. Ruth's got the block.
Wow. Great rotation. Athleticism on display for Ruth.
We are watching a Division I caliber matchup between these two teams. Power 5 players on both sides, up and down the lineups right now. Serta, the Notre Dame commit, got it to go, plus the foul, and IMG will have a chance to tie the game.
How about that? Serta, the three-point specialist, goes on the drive, hits it, and gets fouled. And against Jordan, a great defender.
Serta bounced off Smith just enough to have space to see the rim and get off a clean shot. And he makes the free throw. We are tied at 58. Serta has a dozen.
So the answer to your question, all starters on deck right now. Absolutely. You get your best players in the game. And Harris was fouled, it looks like. I'm not sure who's that.
McCarty.
Okay.
That's his third. 3 ascenders have 3 fouls. So let's keep an eye on that.
And if you're IMG right now, obviously Hammond is a guy that you've got your eye on, but you got to pay attention to Harris. You cannot allow him to kill you from the outside.
Oh, Isaiah Abraham rises high and finishes. That keeps PVI out in front. 60-58 with less than 6 minutes remaining. Acuff Jr. scoops it up, no good. Put back for Freeman is down.
Thoroughly impressed with Freeman's game. He's got some hop to his step now, getting more engaged as the quarter goes on.
The big men in this matchup are outstanding too. He and Sundra have been going at it.
Harris wants the ball inside. He's got Acuff on him.
He's got some size advantage. Pulls the 3 in and out. Freeman, a very high rebound for IMG.
Tough that one didn't fall. I still like the look. That's a makeable shot. That's his shot.
Yeah, it was a good-looking shot, just in and out. Tied with 5 minutes to go. Acuff got a step. Sundra comes over to help, and Hammond taps it out to Abraham. Transition opportunity. The kick, Harris alone for 3. No good. High rebound. Here comes Abraham, and he's decked. Lefty attempt came up short, but that's because he got clocked above the neck.
Big men are taking a beating inside. We saw him on the floor earlier. Weren't sure what happened that he would come back into the game. He stayed in.
That's the 4th foul on Chase McCarty. That could be pretty important. Both because now he has to be careful, and also because if he fouls out, that's a big loss. Womack is going to come in here for Sundra as PVI gets ready to play defense.
You know, that's not a bad substitution at all. Womack gave him some great minutes when he was on the floor earlier.
They do lose 3 inches. Womack is 6'7", where Sundra is 6'10". So IMG brings it up down by 1.
And IMG in his zone right now. Excuse me, Paul the 6th, PVI in the zone.
Serta missed the 3, so both shooters now have missed, Harris and Serta. Who's going to take this final quarterfinal of the week? Hammond with some space. Floater is up and no good. It's out of bounds. It'll stay with the Panthers. Coach McAloon, I think, wanted a charge as Hammond came down on top of Serta.
And rightly so. That's been the call tonight. They just didn't get it.
The general theme all week has been they're letting him play. There's Jordan Smith, who's playing big. Throws down the 2-handed dunk.
Wow, mismatch when he had Serta on him. It's just no comparison as far as Serta's defense. A great player, but Jordan is so quick and explosive.
Brings it back up to a 3-point advantage for the Panthers. Acuff up top will give it up. Ruth's thought about it. Acuff pulls the 3, missed it. Here comes Hammonds. They still had time on the shot clock there. There's an early pull on the slip. Womack is stuffed. Ruths gets another block. Serta in transition. Underneath, Freeman, a collision. Throws it up, no good, and a late foul call. I think it's the right call, but very, very late. They're going to get Hammond on the foul.
Very late. And, John, I want to go back to something that you mentioned about IMG and their three-point shooting or lack thereof. And, you know, obviously PVI has noticed that. They go to a zone. It's really been bothersome. They're making IMG shoot from the outside.
Freeman at the free throw line. Syracuse commit, puts up the first, and it's good.
Impressed with Freeman. I love the way he runs the court.
Yeah, he really stood out to me yesterday in the first round game. He's been good again today as well. He has 12 points and make it 13.
Syracuse alum Carmelo Anthony liking what he's seeing
for
the Orange.
Maybe that's why he's still here.
It might be.
Future Orange. Carmelo's been here all night long, and his son's not even playing tonight. He'll be back on the court tomorrow night with Long Island Lutheran. Harris pulls up for two. Book it. Darren Harris makes it a three-point game again.
Great shot and slipped just a little bit, composed himself, and got that shot to go down. Oh, wow.
I thought Serta might have touched it,
and
he did. They changed the call, and so PVI will get it back, and no complaint from Serta. And McCarty will come back in with 4 fouls, replacing Amari Allen.
Haven't seen the big guy at all. Not that this is his kind of game.
Olivier Rioux. I know, we want to see him.
I really do. You know, he was here last year and got in a little bit, but this is a up and down game. And, oh, we got a foul on Jordan.
Moving screen on Smith.
Offensive foul charged to Jordan Smith.
This game is just hanging in the balance.
Ascender's ball.
PVI's been tough. They have not let IMG jump in front. The Ascenders have been game here in the second half. Harris extends out on Acuff. Now it's Smith on him. Acuff gets it back. Freeman back to Acuff. He'll try the three, and it's good. Darius Acuff Jr. ties the game.
Wow, that's a great shot. From the time it left his hands, you could tell that was going to be a good shot. Excellent rotation, got elevation, and knocked the basket down.
Drive, Hammonds missed the reverse, but gets the foul call as he also crashes into one of those tables on the baseline. Those tables have taken a beating in these quarterfinals, and hopefully Hammond is okay as he's slow to get up. As you look at the three from Acuff, really didn't get anything going on that possession, but Acuff bailed him out with a pretty shot.
Did, and you know, John, I know that you talked to Coach Farello, and he really loves his point guard. Would this be a moment where he would try to kick it out and not try to take on too much?
Yes, in that situation, he had a player he could have passed to right underneath, as they are kind of pushing that table back a little bit. As I think Hammond hit his leg on one of those bars or power outlets down there.
Yeah, they've taken a beating today.
Luckily,
I know in the earlier games, they were fixing those, it felt like every half.
That table in particular tonight has been at the center of some collisions. So Hammond looking to put the Panthers right back in front. IMG has gotten some outside contributions from Serta and Acuff here in the fourth quarter, which they badly needed. And they are right there in this game, with Hammond now putting PVI back on top by just 1. And now 2. Acuff brings it up with 2 minutes and 22 seconds to play.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to Acuff a little bit here. He was feeling it on that last shot.
Reverse, and he missed it off the bottom of the rim, and here comes Smith. IMG gets back. They send it to Abraham on the baseline. No foul call, and then a foul on Abraham coming over to try and punch it away from Serta.
Wow.
And IMG is in the bonus, and Serta will go to the free throw line.
Great pass, and I really thought Abraham got mugged here.
Yeah, Freeman came down on him. Looks like he did get some ball, but just the way he attacked the player there, I did feel like that was a foul as well. And
in a game like this, as close as it is, the benefit really always goes to the offensive player most of the time.
yeah. Serta's
Or I should
money.
say the benefit of the doubt.
Right. We knew what you meant.
Okay, just clarifying.
Serta's second is good. I don't think he misses many free throws.
No, he's money at the free throw line.
Playing a larger role in this game than he did for the important portions of yesterday's game. They have trusted Cole Serta. Hammonds on the right side. Isolated, and he gets the foul call. They're going to get Serta. That's only the fourth on IMG. So a side out and also a shot clock reset for Paul VI.
Hammond using that right arm also as his guide could get him in trouble as this classic goes on.
Womack in the corner. Not out there for his offense, although he has scored in this game. Got 4. Harris gives it up. Abraham circles, and they're going to get an offensive foul on Darren Harris.
Ran right into him. Yeah, he ran right in. He had the intent, obviously, to set a hard pick, but he ran right into the player.
That would have been 5 on McCarty had he called it on him. But, yeah, you're right, JB. That was definitely a moving screen.
You can't complain if you're Harris on that one.
That was a well-designed set play for PVI that backfired when Harris just kept on running. So a timeout on the floor. IMG takes it. Jeff, they have not had a lead in this entire game, but they've got an opportunity to do just that right here.
Absolutely, and you can feel the shift again. I mean, we talked about this. It's just momentum as keeps flowing around, and you can feel the shift is going to IMG now with that A-cuff shot. That was a great shot, and I think that they are feeling pretty good about themselves right now.
Yes, and so you see Sean McAloon has the whiteboard out, designing something specific for the group that's out there right now. Foul trouble mounting on both sides. Both teams will now be in the bonus the rest of the way. Serta and McCarty have 4 for IMG, and as you just saw, Jordan Smith Jr. has 4 for PVI. So those are the guys to really keep in mind when the fouls get called. Tomorrow, by the way, at the City of Palms Classic, the earliest start time of the week, we've got a game at 8 a.m. So we've got live basketball action on this court in 9.5 hours.
And I'll be back to call that game. I know you're looking right at me. Thank you very much.
Is there a cot back here for you? Can you grab some Z's here in the arena? Although you have a nice, easy commute.
Absolutely. I love doing this, and I would be here at 6 o'clock if that's what it called for.
Yeah, we're both locals here. Luckily, we live nearby. Quick turner. I'll be there for the second game tomorrow, so early calls for everybody. But this is a week we look forward to year in and year out. Such great basketball. You're really watching the future of both college basketball and the NBA. Routinely double-digit NBA draft picks have played in this tournament. I would venture as much as 25% of the NBA has played in this event.
Absolutely.
So Freeman with some ball handling up top. Oh, man, Hammond really trying to deny Acuff, but it did not work.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. The shot clock is going down, going to hit 10. So they've got to hurry here for a shot.
Womack comes out to help. Acuff launches the other way. McCarty, 3 to shoot. Turns, nowhere to go. Pulls up, missed it short. Freeman fighting. It's tapped out to Acuff. Serta lets the man blow by. His 3 is short. Offensive rebound. Freeman back at it. Dishes inside. McCarty lays it in. And for the first time in 31 minutes of action, the Ascenders have the lead.
And how about that? That was a pass from Freeman to McCarty. That was not a loose ball. That was a pass.
What a heads-up play from Donnie Freeman. Look at that, wedging it right through the arms of Womack.
Good job to McCarty to be ready for that. He probably thought Freeman was going to go for the score, and instead he passed it, and McCarty converted.
PVI still has 3 timeouts. Are you a little surprised they're not using one here?
You know, I am, and again, you know, this is a seasoned coach who trusts his players. But yes, I mean, I think that you've got to make sure your players are all pointing in the right direction here.
He has been giving out some instruction. Hammond gets the handoff from Smith.
This is the key possession for PVI.
Oh, look at the move! Ben Hammond ties the game. Acuff Jr. ahead. Ruths leaps to keep it in bounds and a reset. We have a 13-second differential shot to game clock.
And I would not be sad if this went to overtime.
Not one bit. They will not play for a 2-for-1. IMG will burn some clock and go to work with Acuff Jr., one of the best juniors in the country, at the controls. Here comes the screen. He rejects it. Gives to the corner for McCarty. 7 to shoot. Acuff lobs. Backdoor. Ruths. The extra pass. Freeman gets hacked. Harris came in to help from the weak side and made sure that there was no shot towards the rim. But IMG can take the lead with free throws.
How impressive was that possession? They run the clock down, knew exactly where they were going. Players were moving, and good things happen when you're moving and you're active.
That's the 4th on Harris. And he was aggressive there, did not let a bucket go through, but the 2 fouls on him here in these last couple of minutes have been really costly.
They have been, yes.
The offensive foul on the moving screen, and then that one. If he played it straight up, I think he would have had a chance to force a miss. But there, a miss from Freeman.
Yeah, that one is a tough one. You've got to hit those free throws.
Now, no matter what, if PVI makes a shot here, they win the game.
Absolutely.
And obviously, Freeman's got to make the free throw to give IMG a chance to win the game. And this timeout will ice him. It's a full timeout from Glenn Farello. Both teams still have 2 more remaining.
Yes.
They get 5 timeouts. The rules here are kind of a mixture of Florida high school rules with some custom rules that the tournament puts in. Both teams get 5 timeouts. No media timeout, so it gives them a chance to stop the game when they need to.
And how about this move from the smallest guy on the court?
I'm amazed that in crunch time with all these amazing players for Paul VI, that Coach Farello has wanted to put Ben Hammond on an island with a defender 6 inches taller than him.
Absolutely. And again, it goes to the trust, and also he knows that he plays bigger than his stature. He's a smaller guy, but he really does play big.
The way he shifts direction is incredible.
He has quickness, his blazing speed, and it puts a lot of pressure on players, even the taller players. Most of the time, the guy's going to get fouled when he drives.
Yeah, he's a finisher, which is not easy to be at 5'11". A little Allen Iverson to his game, too.
I wouldn't go that far. There's only one AI.
But just at his height, to be able to maneuver around bigger players and get the ball to fall is just incredible. So
we're going to see
free
here
throw. My
what's
goodness.
going on with Freeman.
The game rests in the balance. Both teams have timeouts, so they can use them at any point on the out-of-bounds play or even mid-possession for the team with the ball. So Freeman lines up the potential game-winning free throw and makes it. A perfect swish and a 1-point lead for IMG. Amari Allen comes in for defense.
So now you know IMG's focus will now be on Hammond. Will he go ahead and take that on his shoulders, or now who do they go to? Is Harris a viable option?
Smith hands to Hammond. 12 seconds to go. Who's going on to the semifinals? Hammond turns the corner, working on Acuff. Drives the baseline, fades from 10, and he got it! Clock runs, but a timeout from IMG. Ben Hammond with a potential game winner.
And there we have our answer. It's Hammond. All the way was it Hammond. They trust this guy. They want him to take that shot.
Acuff was in position the entire time. Hammond simply shot over him and has 19 points and has given the Panthers a 1-point lead.
I love the look afterwards of determination, of grit, all wrapped into one.
Archie Miller's got a stud in Ben Hammond. He'll be a star in the A-10. Coach Farello going to draw up some defense here, and we'll see what IMG can get out of this. I think they may have added some time to the clock here, which would be very fortunate for IMG.
Absolutely.
They are drawing something up with 4 seconds on the clock. This is a tricky situation. You can understand the whiteboard's out for both coaches in this spot. I believe they are changing it to 5.1, which is I think what was on the clock when the shot went through. Yeah, 5.1 now on the clock. So that gives you even more time now. That's plenty of time to get all the way down court.
Absolutely.
You could also give a pass or two. You can set a screen. You're not going to maybe call a full set, but there's time here to do a few different things if you're Coach Sean McAloon.
Yeah, and I think right now, without a doubt, Acuff is your option. Obviously, he's going to they're going to try to get the ball in his hands. I'm sure PVI right now is drawing up some type of trap or press to try to prevent that. But more than likely, Acuff is going to have it in his hands, but I think that it's either going to be him or Freeman that's going to get that opportunity to give them the winning bucket.
The tricky thing is you cannot foul if you're PVI. Here we go. McCarty runs the baseline, nowhere to go, lobs to Ruths. Ruths dribbles across half court, 2 seconds to go. Ruths floats it, it's no good! Paul VI is going back to the semifinals of the City of Palms Classic. A defensive stand. IMG did not get what they wanted. They had to go to plan B or maybe even plan C. It was a tough angle for Ruths, and he could not get it to fall.
Well, if we got a playback, you see Acuff flashes open, wanted the ball, and there was hesitation on McCarty's half. And obviously, you got what you got. What a great basketball game.
Yeah, this has been one of our best games of the week. Paul VI advances to the semis to take on the Montverde Academy tomorrow. Here's another look at the final play. Hammond tried to get the steal. Ruths did have a decent look. He just had a lot of momentum going away from the basket.
Yeah, and going against his body, and that's an extremely tough shot to try to make.
So the bank does not fall, and PVI advances to the round where they were eliminated last year. This year they have to play the #1 team in the country as IMG drops into the 5th place bracket where they will play the loser, one of the other losers from this quarterfinal, but there are no losers at the City of Palms Classic.
No, absolutely not. And, you know, you're right. Montverde is going to be a tall, tall task. But what I've seen with Hammond tonight, he is going to be a handful for the Eagles.
What a game this was. We thank you for tuning in here on League Ready. Follow League Ready on all the social media platforms and follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. This has been fun. The first ever City of Palms quarters here on League Ready. For our entire crew, including our producer Ryan Kowalski and my partner Jeff Blair, I'm John Vitas saying good night from Fort Myers, where the Panthers move on by a final score of 71-70.